Dental Podcast, where we're calling a spade a spade. Great to be here with you guys today. What did I just watch? What happened? Where was all the transition offense from yesterday? Where was all the team ball from yesterday? Non-existent today. You know what happened?
You're really angry about that. There's real misunderstanding, like what you just heard. WNBA fans are feeling this way right now because something happened between Team USA's first and second practice games that has them very worried. Caitlin Clark looked like the future of USA basketball yesterday. Quick attack, creative passing, and getting to know each other as a team. After 24 hours, the game plan and mood were very different, and Clark didn't have any helpers in the first half.
The starting lineup for today's game, we had Monique Billings, Paige Beckers, Chelsea Gray, Kiki Iriafin, and Kelsey Plum. We got Monique in the starting, Paige in the starting lineup, Kelsey Plum in the starting lineup, Kiki in the starting lineup, and Chelsea Gray remains in the starting lineup.
Here's why this is important. It's not a shooting slump when a skilled point guard like Caitlin Clark doesn't give out any assists for a whole half. That's not really bad luck. There is a problem with the way the offense is run all the time. Monique Billings, Paige Boers, Chelsea Gray, Kiki Ian, and Kelsey Plum were the first players to come out for Game 2. Pay attention to who isn't there. Who recently led the Indiana Fever to their first playoff appearance since 2016. The player who set the WNBA rookie record for assists with 337 in a single season. Getting off the bench.
Tibbetts and Acosta there. Tara wants her thing. Yep. This was very Coach White, and I don't want to hear it's the lineups. I don't want to hear it's the lineups. The style of play is just not there. I know we want him. It's just not there. Style of play is just simply not there. Here we go. Caitlin Clark with a full court dime to Ray Burrell. Shout out to Ray Burrell. I'm telling you, the Fever, if there's two players I want, Ray Burrell and Azurá Stevens, as far as role players go, complementary pieces to Caitlin.
That throw from full court to Ray Burrell was what made Clark's Fever offense so revolutionary this year. As a rookie, she had 8.4 assists per game, which was the most in the league. Indiana's offensive plan was built around her ability to speed things up and hit cutters in transition. So when you see that flash of greatness in Game 2, it makes you wonder, why is this happening at different times instead of being the main part of the attack system? There's a big difference between what Clark is supposed to do and what she is good at.
Legs, tweener, step back. Ha 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 ha. Bang. One of Caitlin Clark's 2 3-pointers today. Caitlin with the steal and score. Now this was nice. This actually showed off Caitlin Clark's speed. She beat the defender, got hit in the head, no flagrant call, it is what it is. But read the passing lane well, jumped it, whoop, let me swoop in there. Coast to coast. A solid defensive play from Caitlin, and she turned on the Jets, showing you she's fast. She's sneaky, fast.
She shows how smart and quick she is in a number of different ways. She also plays a different game. Scouts have been keeping an eye on that steal and coast-to-coast win all season. Clark is faster than most people think. She can do more than just shoot and pass. In her first season, she led to 85 steals thanks to good defensive preparation, which ranked 5th in the league. But this clip is interesting because of this. She had to make this chance happen for herself. She just reads the moving lane and finishes quickly. There is no set play or planned action. Something is wrong with the system when your best player has to do highlights on his own.
From an exciting standpoint, it was rough. Paige Beckers, the leading scorer, with 16 points. Paige, she played good. I'm not hating it. She's just not exciting. Kelsey Plum, 12 points. Dearica Hamby, 2 points. Ka Copper, 6 points. Ka Copper. Folks, Ka Copper's a massive ball hawk. I don't know what else to tell you. She gets it. Don't expect CC to see the ball again. Chelsea Gray played 16 minutes. 1 point, 4 assists. 16 minutes. It felt like Chelsea Gray was barely on.
That style, the end scores show that 2 different games were played. In the first game, Clark coordinated the offense's transitions and ball movement. Paige Boers scored 16 points in Game 2, which was the most in the game. Angel Reese scores 2 points and 2 rebounds. Clark has 8 points and 3 helpers in less than 16 minutes. Now let's talk about what you need to know about this level of practice basketball. These aren't games where skill alone determines the winner. Puerto Rico will not beat Team USA, no matter what plan they use. There was never any question about the score. The question is not whether you should win or lose. All of it comes down to which type of basketball is valued and who gains from that.
The double-double, that's what it was. Kaylin had her day yesterday. Paige and Angel had their day today. You can't help but to think like there's conspiracies going on. You just can't help it. It's just so blatantly obvious at times. It's like, this seems weird. And Ryan Howard suddenly goes from 21 points to 5 points. 2 for 7. Ray Burrell, 4 points, 1 for 2 in 10 minutes of play. Played the whole entire fourth quarter, Ray Burrell. Caitlin Clark, 2 for 6. 1 for 5 from the three-point line. Again, she missed her three-point shots. A couple of them open. You'd hope that.
Chelsea Gray had 1 point and 4 helpers in 16 minutes of play. Gray has won 2 WNBA titles and was the most valuable player in the finals with the Las Vegas Aces. She has won more awards than any other point guard in league history. But she's 31 years old and coming off an injury-filled 2024 season in which she played in just 11 regular season games. This makes me wonder what this roster system is really trying to do. This season, Gray only made 37% of her shots from the field, which is her lowest mark since 2019. Her involvement in these shows is not a way for her to get ready for the Olympics. So, what message does it send when she starts over the player who recently changed the speed and space attack in the WNBA?
Again, it's not so much about the line. Like, these are the best players. That's what we're told. Like, these are the best players. You're telling me that they can't just free ball against Puerto Rico and look decent? Just using their IQ? Using basic basketball ideas? Motions? We can't look like a team? Jackie Young, 9 points, 4 for 4 for Jackie Young. Monique Billings, 3 for 8.
The link to Stephanie White can no longer be ignored at this point. White was just named head coach of the Indiana Fever in November 2024. He will take over for Christie Sides after the team makes the playoffs for the first time in 8 years. White managed the Fever from 2015 to 2016. And now she's in charge of a team that is built around Caitlin Clark's innovative playmaking. But this is why people are worried. White's teaching style has mostly been about getting things done in the half-court and organizing the defense. That isn't always a bad thing, but it's a big change from Clark's fast-paced, transition-heavy game which made her the most exciting player in women's basketball. Watching Game 2 of these exhibitions, which moves more slowly and gives Clark less of a part, makes you wonder if this is a sign of things to come in Indiana.
The men's teams would never not start Jordan, Kobe, LeBum in their primes. Can we get text alerts when CeCe goes in? Why have old washed up PGs in there? Why do you all still have Chelsea Gray as a starting guard? Bored. What a joke. CeCe not starting. My GOAT could have started. Wrong white girl. Damn. Yeah, it's bad. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate that. See you later.
People on social media have been very angry. And this is important to note because it shows a bigger problem with how the WNBA is promoted and understood. Some fans don't understand why Chelsea Gray is starting instead of Caitlin Clark. There are people who want to know why the men's Olympic team would never take LeBron James or Kevin Durant off the court when they were at their best. They want to know why the league seems to be trying to play down the player who recently broke TV, TINGS records, and got a lot of attention from the media. And these are not just random people watching. It was Clark who got these people interested in the WNBA. Now they want to know if the league really values their fans.
If Puerto Rico was a halfway decent team, it would have been a 10-point game. If Puerto Rico was a halfway decent team, it would have been a 10-point game. Playing iso ball out there, Cock Copper, I don't see you. Angel Reese, yeah, I'm dribbling right by you. A lot of bloopies today, but we're trying to be nice. It's Team USA basketball. We're gonna calm down a little bit. Chelsea Gray looks still slow. De'Arica Ham missing. Where is the pick and roll with Caitlin Clark on the floor?
The following is what makes this so awkward for everyone. These games are just for fun. Things that happen don't matter. There is no danger in Puerto Rico. The only point of these games is to help players get better and test teams for future international events. So when the coaches make choices that seem to limit Clark's involvement while giving other players more chances, it's clear what they think is most important. The fans who watched the WNBA 170% more during Clark's first season got that word loud and clear. A player who scored 19.2 points and 8.4 assists per game is being used as a role player in games that don't count. Let's talk about what happened in the time between the two games, because there's too much difference for it to be an accident. The first game had the kind of basketball that made Caitlin Clark a favorite of millions of fans. Transition attack, creative passing, and players running all over the court are all important. Clark was right in the middle of the fast pace. The team in Game 2 seemed to be very different, with very different goals. Less moving of the ball, slower speed, and more one-on-one plays. Clark's rate of uses dropped a lot. Some might say that this was just a test of different teams and rotations. That's what training games are for, right? But that line of thinking doesn't make sense when you look at who got extra minutes and who didn't. It was a starter role for Chelsea Gray, who is 31 years old and has started in 11 games this season. Paige Brooker, who hasn't played professional basketball yet, scored the most points for the team. Angel Reese had a double-double in her showcase game, but Clark, who had just had the best rookie season in WNBA history, could only play 16 minutes off the bench and had a much smaller part. When you look at the offensive scheme, you can see an even more obvious trend. During Game 1, Clark was free to move fast and make plays while the ball was moving. That's her game. That's what made her stand out at Iowa, and what made her huge as a rookie with the Heat. In Game 2, however, the attack slowed down a lot. There will be more half-court sets, isolations, and less ball movement. When Clark did get the ball, she was often put in positions that made it hard for her to make plays. There aren't many pick-and-rolls or off-ball plays, and she isn't moved into space on purpose. Think about what this means for Caitlin Clark's future. She's going to play for Stephanie White and the Indiana Fever soon. White is an assistant coach for the team. A tour of the exhibition across the United States. If White likes this type of basketball and plans to use this offensive philosophy in Indiana, then what we saw in Game 2 could be a preview of Clark's whole 2025 season. That's bad news for everyone who wants the WNBA to grow, because Clark's exciting style of play has directly led to the league's current rise in popularity. The TV stats are not false. In her first season, Caitlin Clark played an average of 1 game. 2 million people watched compared to 440,000 who watched games without her. That's not a small difference. That changes things. The finals of the WNBA were about 1.6 million watchers in 2024, which was 142% more than the previous year. This was partly because Clark brought attention to the league during the season. When one player makes such a big difference, taking away her opportunities to focus on other players who don't get as much attention is a business choice that has big effects. The problem is made even more difficult by beat writers and media coverage. The plot about Caitlin Clark has been very heated all season. Some reporters have talked about how important she is and what she has done. Some people seem annoyed by all the notice she gets and point out that there are other talented players in the league. Of course, that's true. The WNBA has some of the best players in the world. However, if you think Clark's effect is the same as other players, you have to ignore facts like scores, attendance, and cultural importance. Watch the first meeting with the teaching staff again in between games. There's a difference. A decision was made, and the outcome was a very different strategy that limited Clark's abilities while giving everyone on the team a better chance to shine. In a vacuum, that might make sense as managing the squad. However, this is not a whole. This is happening in a league that needs stars badly, that recently saw growth that had never been seen before because of one player, and that now wants to show that it doesn't need that person as much as the numbers say it does. Now think about how other leagues deal with generational ability. When LeBron James was at his best, Team USA's entire attacking plan was built around how he made plays. Kevin Durant was the center of attention when he was fit. When Stephen Curry joined the national team, plans were made to help him shoot better. That's how you treat players who are beyond us. To make other players feel like they're part of the game, you don't limit their roles. You build around them so that everyone else can use the room and attention they give you. The difference shows how the WNBA and fans see Caitlin Clark in a very important way. For the league and some coaches, she is an exciting new player who needs to be taught how to play at this level and fit in with the present systems. To friends, she is one of the best players of her age and has just changed the way offensive basketball is played. Systems should be built around her skills. Both points of view are wrong, and the disagreement between them is being shown right now in these practice games. Stephanie White should have known what was going to happen. She had to know that taking over a team that was set up to look into Caitlin Clark would come with a lot of pressure and close monitoring. Thanks in large part to Clark's changes to the offense, the Fever made the playoffs for the first time since 2016. Indiana went from being one of the slowest teams in the league to having one of the fastest speeds. Their approach changed from one that relied on isolation to one that used pass first, and it worked. Clark set a record for most assists in a single season and led all newbies in scoring and assists. That person shouldn't be forced to fit into someone else's system. That player just showed that her system works. The timing is really terrible. White was hired in November 2024, right after the Fever made it to the playoffs. It was clear what the job was supposed to do. Take this team to the next level by building on what Christie did. But White's chosen style of play is very different from what made the Fever successful. She is not building on a strong base if she wants to slow down the game and use more half-court attack. Her plan is to tear it down and start over. When it comes to a guy who just had the most important rookie season in league history, that's a huge risk. This will be the way things are until the 2025 season. Fans will start to question whether White is the right coach for this team every time Clark is used less. The game slows down and the offense looks more controlled and less creative. These are good points, because what we saw in Game 2 of these exhibitions, a slower pace and Clark's smaller role, is not just a one-game change. This is an intellectual way of looking at basketball. That is also how White will do things at Indiana, which will be against what the coach wants and what the fans expect. The question now is whether or not the showcase plan was worth it. Was it worth slowing down the league's most explosive offensive player to give other players a chance in a game that didn't matter? Should fans have been told that Clark's part might get smaller in the future? Because that is what took place here. In Game 2, there wasn't just a new lineup or rotation. The plan was very different from basketball. It made Clark less skilled while giving everyone a better chance to score. This is a sneak peek of what to expect in Indiana with Stephanie White in charge. The 2025 season will be interesting to watch for all the wrong reasons. Tell me in the comments. Do you think Stephanie White is the right person to coach Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever? Or will this way of teaching waste the best years of a generation's talent? Since we saw that happen in Game 2, that question is no longer hypothetical. That's the truth that the Fever are about to face. Please write your thoughts below. If you want more in-depth looks at the WNBA like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel.